Look at that. There's a dead catfish here on the beach. Now that is cool. Check out these spines. These are what'll get you when you catch them. Very painful. And those spines on the pectoral and dorsal fins, look at those serrations. So when one of those goes in your hand, it gets stuck and you have to rip it out. The serrations are similar to those found on a stingray barb. Whew. Would not want to get stung by one of these guys. People actually classify catfish as one of the most dangerous fish to catch around here because of those spines. Nice. First find of the day. I'm currently just walking along the beach, looking for any cool things that I can find that have been washed up. It's hurricane season here on the Gulf Coast, so the waves are going to be much bigger than they would be otherwise. I mean, these are nothing. But during hurricane season with these larger waves, we typically have more stuff washed up on shore, so it's always fun to just walk along the beach and see what kind of cool things that I can find. Well, that's disappointing. Not only is this cloth a giant piece of trash that's washed up on the shore, but from a distance, its polka dotted pattern made me think that it could have been a spotted eagle ray. But nope, just more trash in the ocean. Well, this is cool. This is the carapace of probably a blue crab. Those are very common around here. I'm not quite sure, but if that's a blue crab, that's a pretty large crab. It's very common to find crab parts washed up like this. Very cool. If you can see the red spikes on there, that's pretty indicative of a blue crab. Nice. Speaking of blue crab, there is the claw of one. You can tell by the blue coloration there and the red-tipped claws. Very indicative of a blue crab. This one actually looks pretty large. Possibly the same crab as the carapace that I found earlier. Nice. Now that's a little unusual. There's what's left of a bird. Looks like it could be a laughing gull. It has black wings on it, but it's very decayed. Very hard to tell what it is, but yeah. Possibly a laughing gull, but it's hard to say. It's not often that I come across dead birds on the beach, so it's a cool find. I'm here on the Gulf Coast of the United States in Gulfport, Mississippi. And I'm not here just to walk along the beach and find cool things, although that is an added bonus. My main reason for being here is to watch the release of Kemp's Ridley sea turtles. The local Mississippi Aquarium has been rehabilitating some rescued Kemp's Ridley sea turtles, and today is finally their release day. Now, these sea turtles were not rescued from here. They were actually rescued up in the northeast on the Atlantic coast. These endangered sea turtles are migratory animals. They migrate from the Gulf of Mexico and Florida up to the northeast, and if they don't leave the area soon enough before the water gets too cold, they go into a state of cold-induced shock, which causes them to wash up on the beaches. Unfortunately, oftentimes many of these sea turtles die from this shock by drowning or just being too cold. But fortunately, there are those who rescued many of the sea turtles. And one of the installations that took in some of those sea turtles to rehabilitate is the Mississippi Aquarium. And the sea turtles are finally all good, ready to be released back into the wild, and that is why I'm here today. I absolutely love turtles, but I have a really big fascination with sea turtles, so I'm really excited to watch the release of these beautiful Kemp's Ridley sea turtles. But until it's time for them to be released, I'm just walking along the beach and looking for cool things. Just doing some exploring. Hopefully I'll see dolphins. These waters off the coast of Mississippi in between the barrier islands is known as the Mississippi Sound. And according to the Mississippi Aquarium, it has one of the healthiest populations of bottlenose dolphins in the United States. It's very common when walking along the beach or fishing to see bottlenose dolphins. So I'm really hoping to see some dolphins and some turtles today. Beautiful day. Now there's a sight that's all too common to these waters. That is the head of a hardhead catfish. Just like before, catfish wash up pretty frequently in these waters. They are very common. They are frequently preyed upon by sharks and other large fish, as well as large seabirds. Now here is a cool spot to find some wildlife. We don't often get them this big, but here's a small tidal pool, if you can call it. Not exactly the same as the tidal pools many people think of, but water that has washed up into this spot of deeper sand, and the water has collected there. And often there will be small creatures, fish, crabs, in the water. Here's some fish right there, not sure if you can see them. Little fish, nothing big. You don't typically find big animals in these little tidal pools. And here we can see the tracks of some of the local seabirds coming down for a quick snack. Very cool. They don't contain the biggest fish in the world, but it's always fun to come across these little tide pools. You never know what you'll find. So they are definitely always worth checking out. Now, around here on the coast of Mississippi, we don't have the clearest water in the world. This is far from Destin or Clearwater or Panama City Beach or even Orange Beach in Alabama. So while the water isn't as clear as the water that you would find in those heavy vacation destinations, it is still certainly cool, and you still have a high probability of coming across some really cool wildlife. Well, they're getting set up to release the turtles right back there. They're setting up their stations, setting up lines so they can safely release the turtles. So I'm climbing up on this jetty, and I found what I'm pretty sure takes the cake for coolest thing I've found so far today. Look at this. There is an entire Atlantic stingray wedged between the rocks of this jetty, like up high on the jetty. There's the water down there. The water must have risen all this way to put the stingray right here. Wow. I mean, some people catch stingrays and just take the barb and then kill the stingray, leave it out to die. But this stingray's barb is intact. So my guess is the water came up during one of our recent storms. He got stuck in the rocks, wasn't able to escape, water receded, and unfortunately he got stranded and died here between these rocks. Alright, here he is, guys. This is a dead Atlantic stingray. Pretty good sized one. And while it is hard, it's all dried out in the sun. It does not look to be very old. There's actually still blood dripping down the side. Seems to have just dried out in the sun. Looking at this, I would guess that this washed up in the past couple of days. We've had lots of rain, some good tropical storms around here. I'm guessing that's what washed this guy up on the shore. If you look here, that right there is what gives them their unfortunate reputation. You can go your whole life swimming on the beach and never see a stingray. But unfortunately, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you could get that jammed into your foot. And they actually break off when they go into your foot. So wounds from one of these often get infected. The barb is serrated, just like the barbs on the fins of a catfish, like I was showing you earlier. Perfect example. It's unfortunate that in order to see this guy, he had to be washed up. But this is definitely the coolest find of the day. Here's a look from the top. You can see his sphericals, you can see his gills on the bottom. I would much rather encounter one of these guys swimming out in the ocean than washed up on the jetty, but still very cool to find. Unfortunate though. But I'm gonna put this guy right back where I found him, and the seabirds will devour him in the next couple of days. Very smelly. Smells like fish, of course. But I don't come across these guys too often, so kind of sad, but very cool. More families are starting to show up, So I'm gonna head on over to the sea turtle presentation so I can get a good spot, get some good footage of the turtles. After setting up their tables and barriers and allowing as many people as possible to come down to watch the event, volunteers and employees of the Mississippi Aquarium began walking around showing off displays, educating the public about these sea turtles. According to the Mississippi Aquarium, on December 14, 2020, 25 cold-stunned Kemp's Ridley sea turtles were delivered to the Mississippi Aquarium by a group called Turtles Fly 2. The endangered turtles were in need of veterinary care and rehabilitation after becoming stranded along the eastern coast of the United States. And after displaying all of this wonderful information, they finally brought out the sea turtles themselves. The turtles, initially rescued by New England Aquarium and Marine Life Center, needed time and medical attention. However, the facilities in the Northeast were at capacity. Mississippi Aquarium volunteered to take some turtles and aid in their recovery. Mississippi Aquarium veterinary staff performed complete exams on each turtle and formulated individual treatment plans. Over the past few months, the veterinary team has nursed the animals back to health, and now 10 of the sea turtles are ready for release. Although Kemp's Ridley sea turtles are the most endangered sea turtle in the world, they are the most common sea turtle found in Mississippi waters. Kemp's Ridley sea turtles have many threats to their survival, including bycatch, ocean pollution, and habitat loss. Each turtle that is rehabilitated and returned to the ocean is important for the survival of their species. After walking around and letting everyone have a good look at the sea turtles, it was time for their release back into the ocean. With that, the sea turtles were back on their way. Just got finished up at the sea turtle release. Now I'm just sitting back on the jetty that I was at before. And man, that was a really cool and fun experience. Not only was it a really cool way to see some of these rare Kemp's Ridley sea turtles, but it was just a fun community event where everybody in the area could get together and really celebrate sea turtle conservation. That was really cool. I'm so glad to see so many people were interested in coming out to this event. Many people probably won't be lucky enough to see a Kemp's Ridley sea turtle in their lifetime. So while the event was really crowded and kind of hectic, especially towards the end, I'm really glad I got to experience that. I got some really good footage of them walking with the turtles and the sea turtles in their carrying cases. Unfortunately, I didn't get the best footage of the actual release of the turtles because that's when everything got a little bit crazier. It was more of a free-for-all because the barriers weren't up. But I know I did get at least one good shot of a sea turtle poking its head up after the release as they were swimming off towards the horizon. Wow, that was really cool. Hopefully, I'll get the chance to see Kemp's Ridley sea turtles in the wild at some point while I'm here. That would be amazing. My summer goal, my number one summer goal, is to swim with or at least encounter a wild sea turtle. And with that, looks like the clouds are about to open up and looks like it might start raining on me. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up and head home. What a cool experience. I'll leave the link to the Mississippi Aquarium website below if you guys want to check it out. And with that, I'm so glad you guys could join me to witness this amazing effort of conservation. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. Be sure to stay tuned. Hopefully more videos coming. All right. Yeah, the wind's picking up. The clouds are rolling in. I gotta get out of here before I get rained on. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.